So welcome. Thanks very much for coming. This is a wonderful day. We have classically great weather for the ball game, for this opening, in what is just an unbelievable neighborhood. Sometimes it's hard to remember that in the midst of so much that people are struggling with it, there are some wonderful things happening in the world. This is one of them. And so, for a couple of hours here, we get to forget about all the other difficult things that are going on in our community and in the world, and just remember what's really fantastic about what's going on here. This is a celebration, of 150 affordable homes here in this community. We have so many partners to thank. We're going to go through that as we go through the ceremony today. But really what we're here to just do is just celebrate that we, have collectively managed to create something really special that is going to be wonderful both for the families that are living here now, hopefully for the surrounding community, and all of the other friends and family and neighbors and folks that move here in future generations. So we have a long list of folks to thank today. We cannot do any work that we do without the incredible support of local government, and that's true all around the state, but it's nowhere more true than it is here in San Francisco. We're really lucky. In some other parts of the state, you struggle to find elected officials that are excited about affordable housing. Sometimes you struggle to convince an elected official to at least be not unhappy about affordable housing. But in San Francisco, we're just blessed because we have so many elected officials who are incredibly enthusiastic. They're knocking down your door to make sure that you do more of what you do. Nobody's more like that, I think, than the two elected officials that we're here today with. And in particular, Jane Kim, who we were just joking, she's now a regular. We're going to have to get her a Mercy name tag. She's on heavy rotation. We've been very lucky to do a lot of work in her district, and she's here to speak on behalf of herself and the city. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Doug. I was joking with him earlier that we don't have to actually set up regular meetings because we get to see each other at groundbreakings. And it was only, a month ago that we did Vera Hale, senior housing for formerly homeless seniors in the Tenderloin on top of St. Anthony's Dining Hall, which is another beautiful building. And I just can't tell you how much these days are the best days of our jobs. Welcoming residents, San Francisco residents, into their new homes, beautiful homes, here in the heart of San Francisco is one of the best things that we as a city can do, which is to build housing that we can afford to live in. And I just want to recognize so many folks that were part of making this happen, but also just note, historically, San Francisco is a city that decided to do redevelopment right. This is one of our redevelopment area plans in Mission Bay, and we want to hit close to 30% affordable housing for families, for seniors, for low-income adults, and also how rare it is to open up affordable housing for families. That is really, really amazing that we will have young people growing up in this building, and on top of that, on top of housing, we're going to have childcare facilities, 2 childcare daycare centers here on the site, which is very unusual and which we need to have more of. And I just want to thank all the folks that are at the foresight to ensure that we are going to be able to do that here. Mission Bay is growing to become a very special neighborhood. We of course have, the home of our 3-time World Series champions right down the street. And soon to be a champion, NBA champion with our MVP. The Warriors coming a couple of blocks away. Go Warriors. Last night was a blip. We will win the next game, and we will be taking it all the way to the end. But affordable housing, as Doug mentioned, is really one of the centerpieces of the work that I know the mayor and I want to make sure that is at the center of the policy work that we do. It is so important that we create a diverse city and a city that everyone can afford to live in. And we know that 60% of San Francisco residents qualify for affordable housing here in the city. 60%. Of our city. And so to even know that we can hit a goal much higher than most jurisdictions, close to 30% affordable for 60% of our residents, is really a huge achievement, and we have much, much more to do. And so I just want to thank again redevelopment. We have OCII, Tiffany Bohe, and one of our longtime commissioners, Dar Singh, is here today, that has been leading the work to make sure that affordable housing is a big part of redevelopment. And of course, Doug Shoemaker and Mercy Housing, and Ken Reggio at Episcopal Community Services, we know that housing alone isn't enough. We have to provide services on site for our families and individuals to make sure that we are really building a community, and to have these spaces where we have kitchens and community spaces where residents can get to know each other and support one another is also an incredibly important piece of building a home. So congratulations to everyone. Welcome to our new residents here in Mission Bay. I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Supervisor. We are going to say a little bit more about Episcopal Community Services later, but they are our partner, and we really could not be doing this work without them. It's a long-standing partnership, personal, professional, so we want to thank the folks from ECS. We'll thank them a little bit more later. And the other part of, I think, what the supervisor was mentioning, in addition to OCII, these projects really depend on a deep partnership with a lot of parts of the city, but none more than the Human Services Agency. Of the 150 homes here, 50 serve formerly homeless families, and the services and rental subsidies and support that enables that to happen comes from the city and the county through the Human Services Agency and the Mayor's Office of Housing, and really the support that we've had over the years and the partnership with the Human Services Agency is really quite incredible. So I don't think Trent's here, but I did see Joyce. I'm not sure about Cindy and Brianna. I just want to maybe raise your hand in the back. We really value what you do. And as I mentioned, this building really, a lot of different partners. As the supervisor mentioned, this was land that was dedicated as a result of a redevelopment area. Very unique. We have a long tradition here. I see some folks that were involved, Tom Jones, Dan Solomon, our architect, way back in the creation of the Mission Bay Plan. A lot of people struggled to make sure that there were going to be 30% affordable here and that these parcels would not be tucked in against the freeway, but actually right here with these beautiful views as people of all incomes deserve. And the stewards of that vision, the people that are really making it happen, are now the former redevelopment agency, now called the Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure. I can never quite trip it up. I'll get there, Tiffany. Good. And a fabulous executive director, Tiffany Bobby.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to be here for the grand opening today at 1184th Street. As you heard from Doug, the Office of Community Investment and Infrastructure, or the ARTIST formerly known as Redevelopment, our role here, thank you, our role here really is unique still in a post-redevelopment world. It's both land use and financing. And we do that not only here in Mission Bay, but in a couple other key areas in the city, in Trans Bay, in Bayview Hunters Point, and Candlestick. And since the Mission Bay Plan was adopted back in, 1998, 18 years now, and a number of you have been working on it since then, and thank you for your efforts and your stewardship. This neighborhood, as the supervisor has indicated, has really come into its own. Out of the over 6,000 homes that would be built here, about half are done, and over 1,100 of those homes are affordable for low-income families, for seniors. In fact, we're looking out across Mission Creek to Mercy Housing's first senior affordable housing development that we built here in Mission Bay, as well as middle-income renters and first-time homebuyers over at Mission Walk with other nonprofit partners. We work with all of them, and Mercy is just a fantastic partner. It was designed, as you heard, to serve 150 low-income families. There are, I'm told, 261 kids living here today, which is a tremendous number. We have parks and services for them built in, and a kids park. Everyone is invited to the groundbreaking of our new kids park about 2 blocks away, and it certainly, we hope, will serve not just this development, but all of Mission Bay. We have a lot left to do in Mission Bay. We've got 700 more affordable units left to build. We're still going to do that using the magic of tax increment. We used 26 million of tax increment using that state tool here, and we'll continue to use it thanks to the efforts of our district supervisor and our mayor to preserve that here, to really honor our promise, both to these residents and other San Franciscans. The mayor in particular has challenged us to meet that goal. His goal of providing permanently affordable low and income homes, 10,000, and we will rise to that goal. We have now, in addition to this development, just this grand opening today with residents moving in last year, we've got 400 more in planning and development for low-income families, and really a first here in Mission Bay and in the city. First in Mission Bay, we've done is formerly homeless housing for veterans, and that's just 2 blocks away. So we're almost at our 30% goal, and we'll hit that by 2020 through the efforts of our electeds like Supervisor Jane Kim and the mayor. Mission Bay, of course, is one of the most diverse and income and vibrant districts in the city. We certainly owe our thanks to Jane Kim, our district supervisor, who is a tireless champion, as Doug Shoemaker said, for affordable housing. There is so much development happening in the city, and in particular in District 6, but it's equitable development, in part because the supervisor pushes all of us to make sure that happens. It certainly doesn't happen by magic or without great efforts from our supervisor. And certainly we also owe a tremendous thanks to Mercy Housing, Doug and his entire team, Episcopal Community Services, Ken, our city partners, Trent Rohr, and his staff and his team. I see Joyce, I just want to give a shout out because it's this multiple layering of financing, both the capital, and I know our capital partners, tax equity partners, Silicon Valley Bank are here, but it's that operating subsidy that the city provides through HSA and MoCD that makes this such a special place. Certainly this day, this opening couldn't have been possible. There is an existing Mission Bay community, and the Mission Bay Citizens Advisory Committee has been involved for over 20 years. They were a voice for the neighborhood before there was a neighborhood or people knew what Mission Bay was, and now it's one of the best places to live. So we thank you, and I don't know if Corinne Woods is here, but she's really been a voice and a champion for literally over 20 years through many iterations of a Mission Bay plan. And certainly our commission, we're governed by a 5-member commission appointed by the mayor and approved by the board, and Darshan Singh was a redevelopment agency commissioner, is an OCI commissioner. I believe Marley Mondahar is here, our commissioner for District 6. They have challenged us to not only provide housing, but to provide and create jobs for small businesses and for San Franciscans. This development, over 43% of the professional services contracts were awarded to small businesses, and 24% of the construction subcontracts. This is a $72 million development, so that's a lot of jobs for small businesses. And over a third of the folks who built this very development were San Franciscans, so we're providing jobs for those San Franciscans. And I certainly want to acknowledge the work of other city staff. I'm sure they'll be acknowledged by Doug, but Olson Lee, hopefully he's here, certainly his tireless leadership when he was at the redevelopment agency and now MoCD, Trent Rohr and his staff. And then because they never get thanked and they're so humble, and they're not even here, a number of them, because they're working hard on more affordable housing. So I want to take the opportunity to thank OCI staff, Jeff White, Pam from our Housing Development Division, our contract compliance staff, George Bridges helped us achieve those incredible numbers with our partners and the contractor, our architecture and planning staff, Pedro Arce, and even former staff. Even Fred Blackwell had a hand, Amy Netches and Kelly Kahn. A number of them have moved on to Oakland and come back again. But nonetheless, we welcome them with open arms. Thank you so very much.
We have a special guest basket for you here. So Tiffany thanked a number of the people I was going to thank. I'll just add a couple more. Catherine Riley and Sally Worth, also from OCI, Lydia Ely, Maria Benjamin, Brooke Barber, Marv Rance, Joan McNamara, and Don Lusty. This project's been going on, and it's big enough that many, many people have touched it, and so I want to thank all those folks. Also in heavy rotation for us these days, because we've just been very lucky to have a lot of buildings opening up recently. It takes really fabulous banking partners to make this work. These projects are a lot more complex than your home mortgage or anything along those lines. It takes really sophisticated partners who have committed themselves to really making sure they understand what affordable housing is, how to be a partner not just initially but over the long term. And we have a fabulous partner in Bank of America Merrill Lynch and Gabe Spire, who has been with us as our senior client manager. our guy at Bank of America, I guess is a better way to put it, and the person who's really shepherded this project through from the bank side, so Gabe Spire.
I'm going to move this up a little bit. Yeah. Well, yes. Hi, Gabriel Spire, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. And what I'm supposed to talk about right now is Bank of America's role in all of this. But what I really want to tell you is that this building would not be here today, the child care services would not be here today, this home for many people would not be here today if it wasn't for the policies, programs, and politicians that support it. And now, not to give short shrift to Mercy Housing, because this building is also an edification of their values. The value of compassion, the value of community. It takes a lot of hard work. And yes, it takes a belief in the value of mercy. Now then, I know that some may say, well, Gabe, I think you're preaching to the choir, and that might be the case. But I think this choir needs to sing really loud if we want them to hear us all the way in Sacramento. So, just some food for thought. Also, Bank of America is pleased to provide $25 million of the $42 million construction loan, being the lead construction lender for Mission Bay, 1184th Street. We also provided $32 million in tax credit financing. And on behalf of Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, my associates here today, thank you very much and congratulations to all.
I think he's just doing this to make me look bad. A couple more folks to thank at the bank: Todd McCain, Nicole Balden, Barbara Coulter, Debbie Trampetti, and Roy, I'm going to butcher your name, Roy Buis of Buis Construction Services. The other lender for us on this project, this was a partnership lending environment. We have a fantastic set of lenders on this. We're very happy to have Silicon Valley Bank here today, Christine Carr, who has also been a longtime partner. They partnered with Bank of America as the participating construction lender. So Christine.
Thank you, Doug. Our Silicon Valley Bank's offices used to be right over here in the China Basin building. And I used to be able to look out over the site. And when Jennifer told me about the project, I said, oh yeah, I can see that from my office. I want to be the construction lender on that, along with Bank of America, on a beautiful project like this. So we moved from that site in 2010. And it wasn't under construction then. The construction loan closed in 2012, and we provided $17 million in the construction financing along with Bank of America. So it takes a while. And I want to thank my staff that worked on the project: Denise Christensen, Susie Chang, Serena Calloway, and Faye Darmaui. And I'd also like to thank Mercy's project manager, Ilea Lavora, because she helped get us through the fire. And a shout out to Roberts Obayashi, too, for what a great job you did on the construction of the project and helping get us through the fire issues, et cetera. And I know there's a special thank you for the fire department that really saved our building here. So anyway, that's coming. But as Jane Kim said, it's always one of the best days of my job to come out to a project like this, because I always get tears in my eyes. You know, it always makes me want to cry when I see what a beautiful project happens. And this isn't just any beautiful project either. This is a really special project. And I've been in this business for a long time, and to see a project like this in downtown San Francisco, as big as it is, serving families with the outdoor areas, and just how beautiful it is. It's just a really, really special project. Jennifer, I'm going to borrow one of your stories. She said one of the families that was moving in, and the little girl was saying to her mom as she came in the lobby, "Mom, we're with the rich people now." It's such a heartwarming story. So anyway, it is always one of the best parts of my job to see a project like this come to fruition. And it closed in 2012, and here it is 2015. So it takes so many good people to make a project like this happen, and such a long time, and so many of you good people that are out here coming together to make something like this happen. And it really is very gratifying. So it's especially A happy day to celebrate the completion of the project and to see all the new homes for these deserving families. And we also celebrate the vision of San Francisco and Mercy Housing for getting the project done. And at Silicon Valley Bank, one of our tagline is, "Nothing we'd rather be doing." And I'd say that certainly says it all. Nothing we'd rather be doing than partnering with Mercy Housing on a project like this. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. I think I'm going to take that opportunity. I do want to thank, we had a fantastic general contractor on this project, the wonderful folks from Robert Sobayashi. I've got a few names, but I want to thank everyone at the company. So Scott Smith, Kurt Lindquist, Ray Fletcher, Don Wallace, Rob Wallace, and Josh Hoffman, but really everyone that helped build this building. I want to thank you for a fantastic job. And as much as I like to tell people that I designed this building, which is not totally true. In fact, not, I didn't even know about the building when I started at Mercy Housing, but that's a different issue. I had an impact, I'm sure, in some small, meaningful way. No, I do want to thank the great folks from Mattoon Solomon and Owen Kennerly Architecture. So Dan Solomon, Ann Torney, Malcolm Harris, Kristen Bell, Owen Kennerly, and Serena Tracta of Full Circle Architecture. I think the building speaks for itself, but this is just such a fabulous addition to San Francisco. I mean, people all around the city have come up to me and said, you know, that building that you guys did in Mission Bay South is just spectacular. So congratulations. It's hard to get a building in this town of very opinionated people. It's hard to get a building that many people like. So you did something right. I want to thank Chris Rivera, who's our construction manager. He's been, there for us on many, many projects. Our consultants, Natalie Gubb at Gubb and Barchet, Richard Mandel, and the folks at the California Housing Partnership, Old Republic Title. We also had a lot of help from the folks at Mission Bay Development Group. I don't know if Erica Ray and Seth Hamalian are here today, but if they're not, thank you for everything that they did. All right, that's a surprising number of the thank yous. We're really working our way through. So I want to go back to our speaking order here. If I can find my place in the roster here, I've already lost it. I don't think is Eugene here? Oh, perfect. Good timing, Eugene. So our partners at the state from the Department of Housing and Community Development, Eugene Lee is the section chief for the Infill Infrastructure Grant and Transit-Oriented Development Program, which is a very long title for a very important program. So Eugene, please join us.
Thank you, Doug. Wow, I have a good feeling today the Giants are going to win. There's going to be a great turnout. I could tell you I saw them all on my way from Sacramento. How many of you know that today is a very special birthday? Not only for this development, but also for Willie Mays. What a great memory this is going to be. He turns 84 today, and I can't believe this, that I'm actually doing this, but I'm actually quoting a Dodger, and that there is a nexus between what we do here and what we're celebrating and baseball. And Jackie Robinson, number 42, actually spoke about Willie Mays. And he said this. He said that when he, Willie Mays, was in California, whites refused to sell him a house in their community. They loved his talent, but they didn't want him for a neighbor. I just had dinner with someone who actually saw this happen, and he was a young kid, huge baseball fan, and he couldn't believe that his hero was going to be redlined from his neighborhood, and he never got the chance to see Willie Mays. How sad, when we fail to actually integrate, our society disintegrates, doesn't it? And whether it's in baseball or in housing or how we actually find housing for our neighbors, in the word community has the word unity. And there can be no community without unity. Amen? Today is also a very memorable day in history. I love history, so bear with me. Being a Chinese American today was also a day when the place I worked for, the state of California, actually passed the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882. Similar issues. What a nexus of a day this is. That here I am standing as part of an immigrant family, as I know many of you are, you know, and we're still struggling with this issue of our society and the people that live and work and we, you know, and that are our neighbors. You know, and Jackie Robinson said this so poignantly. He said, "I'm not concerned with your liking or disliking me. All I ask is that you respect me as a human being." How true, how true. Yes. And I wish I said this, but I'm going to quote it because another leader of that age was sending the same message. Isn't this so interesting in the 60s? And Robert F. Kennedy said this. He said, "What is it objectionable, what is dangerous about extremists is not that they are extreme, but they are intolerant. The evil is not what they say about their cause, but what they say about their opponents." What a message we need to remind ourselves, isn't it? But today, you know, we're witnessing an integration. We're witnessing an integration of what is called, in my world, infill development. You know, seeing environmental and social goals coming together to create good. We have families, people who were formerly homeless. We have commercial, all coming together in one massive intersection. And how ironic it is that, you know, the generation before me, as Chinese Americans, as Chinese, not Americans, I guess, you know, we're building infrastructure, the Transcontinental Railroad, right? And here I am, just a few generations later, now being an infrastructure chief with the state of California. Infrastructure connects us. And as I try to explain my job to my children, they don't really understand that. You know, what exactly do you do, Dad? Does anyone suffer from that? I can't be alone. What do you do? But I explained to them this. Look at where you walk. When you take the bus, how do you drink? Infrastructure is what I do. It connects all of us together. We are one in this society. And that is why, although I frowned today with all the stopping and all the traffic coming over here, but I'm reminded how it forcefully tells me to stop and look at my neighbor. It forces me to stop and look at the other people in my city and my neighborhood. I look it straight into their eyes and I wonder where they're going. It forces us to show that we are connected. I'm not living just my life in a car by myself, going from point A to point B. It's not about me, it's about the we. And that's what I love about infrastructure. It forces us to look into the eyes of the people around us. And so when we celebrate today and we look at the great work of Mercy Housing, you should be so proud of this because it's a monument, isn't it? It's a monument of that we're together and that all of us are important. And it's a reminder that planning and design must be sustainable for our future and that the future matters. Smart planning is business smart. It's not exclusive at all. In 2006, The voters of San Francisco voted yes on a proposition called Proposition 1C. And out of that money came $17 million to help build this. It's not state money, it's your money. On that day, 73% of San Francisco voted yes. And you said yes because you wanted this. Your opinion matters. This is an investment. It's not the state's money, it's your investment of saying, yes, this is so important to me in San Francisco that I want to put $17 million right here and do this. So celebrate that. Celebrate that this is a reminder of our responsibility to create the community, to create the jobs, and really protect all of us residents. Thank you.
So thanks very much, Eugene. A couple other folks to thank. We work with so many people at the State Department of Housing. Craig Morrow and John Lambert are just two that have been really instrumental in this project. And, also in the realm of political commercials, this is transit-oriented development money. Currently, the state is just about to release its first batch of cap and trade dollars for transit-oriented affordable housing. That's really modeled on this program. So again, the seeds of something bigger that we hope will be continued for many years into the future. As I said, there have been many different lenders and funders of this project. We're really happy to have with us the California Community Reinvestment Corporation, which is the permanent lender on this project. Mary Kaiser, who serves with me, and many others in sort of advocating for affordable housing at various levels. We serve together on the California Housing Consortium. She's a real leader on this issue, and I want to bring her up and thank her.
Well, congratulations to all, and note to self, don't follow Eugene Lee. I mean, he's got all these great stories. But it is a home run. Okay, that's all I got. This is a home run, Doug. We can't be prouder at CCRC to be part of this project. We have 45 member banks who fund every loan that we do throughout the state of California. That's the model that was built 25 years ago when CCRC was built. And Bank of America has a little piece of it, and Silicon Valley Bank has a little piece of it. So every deal that we do with Mercy has, every financial institution in it. And we have a couple of our team members here today somewhere. Mark and Maria are here, and our bond counsel, Tom Vandiver. So they've heard this line. Silicon has their line, and I have my line, and it's, if you build it, we will fund. And I sure wish I'd brought my checkbook. Congratulations.
Thanks, Mary. As I said earlier, this is really quite a partnership. It's not the only thing we work on together, but it's our newest partnership. Ken Reggio is here from Episcopal Community Services. They provide the really critical social services, the relationships with both Mercy and with the residents. And Ken's very well known to many of us. He's been a champion of these issues for many years here in San Francisco, and he and his staff are really part of what makes this building work. Ken?
Thank you, Doug. We actually, I think, have worked together since at least 1999 when Mercy and Episcopal Community Services started working together at the Rose. And subsequent to that, we have partnered in building Canon Barcus, which is housing for homeless families, opened that about 12 years ago. We are working currently with Mercy on the rehab of Canon Kip Community House, which was actually the first new construction supportive housing in San Francisco. So it's a great partnership. We value it deeply. We're very glad to be part of the work here in this incredible place. And I'd say of all the things that we've worked with Mercy on, there's really nothing more exciting and that has more promise than 1180 4th Street. Among the things that are phenomenal about this is what's been said. This is home to 150 families, and among those families of 50 people, 50 families who less than a year ago were sleeping in cars, were living in shelters, were maybe crashing on their cousins' couches and in their living rooms, and staying in overcrowded motels. And to be able to call this home now is just such a phenomenal experience. I said there's promise. Among those 50 homeless families are 116 children. And I think it's for the children, formerly homeless families, that the promise is greatest. They are going to grow up, and they are growing up in a place where there's the stability of a home, which we all have a right to, and so many don't have that opportunity. It's an opportunity that I think my kids and maybe many of your kids have taken for granted, and I think it's just a phenomenal thing that they will grow up here, and in time I think we'll take for granted and understand that it's a right that we all have to live in a decent place that's affirming to the things that everybody should be access to. And the promise, too, for the children who live here is that homelessness will be a part of their past. Episcopal Community Services, as Doug said, is Mercy's service provider at this facility. What that means is that we offer case management. We help people as they move in to stabilize. We provide access and connection to health services that are needed for people. I see our colleagues from Merritt College of Nursing who are part of our team here, Miriam Eisenhart and her colleague, and that's an important part of the work as well. We provide access to education. We provide access to vocational services. We help people stabilize their income. But most important, or among the many important things I should say, is we work closely with our colleagues in Mercy to ensure that this is not just an address, but it's a community. It's a place where people belong. It's a place where people contribute. And it's a place where the members of this community and the broader community of Mission Bay and of San Francisco are deeply valued. I want to acknowledge and thank very much our Housing Services Director, Scott Ecker, who's been on the planning of this with colleagues from Mercy, Jennifer Dolan, and others through the course of the last several years, and our terrific on-site services staff, Sean Pavandi, and Anna Cooper and Nelson Estrada. So great appreciation to them. I want to recognize and thank our funding partners as well. We couldn't do it without Joyce and without the phenomenal Brianna, who's worked with us on other projects, and it's great to be working with both of you here as well. And finally, I want to congratulate you, Doug, and your team, your development partners, because what you're giving people really is a life-changing place for generations to come, and it's just a fabulous accomplishment.
So I know Ken just sort of said what I think all of us are feeling about today. These days are really incredible. I think what we really want and what's happening in this building, and I think the ECS staff, the Mercy staff, and the residents are part of making this happen, is just that kids are just kids here. People are living together. It is what it is. You're part of this beautiful environment, this beautiful neighborhood, and it really, at the end of the day, this will be a seamless part of what is San Francisco, and unfortunately, there aren't that many communities being built like this today, but this is what we do here in San Francisco, and to quote an off-quoted line, that's San Francisco values for you, so we're proud of that. I want to just take a minute and thank and acknowledge some of the Mercy California and Mercy Housing board members. I see Brian and Suzanne Swift, Joanne Burgess, Susan Wade, Sister Mary Waskowiak, Craig Regal, and I'm not sure if I missed anyone else, but if you just raise your hand and be acknowledged, there are fabulous volunteer board of directors. And then before I introduce the mayor, I just want to thank the Mercy staff. This project has had a couple of different project managers. Ilea Lavora really has brought it home, so she really deserves the credit here for the final lap. But it started with Jennifer Dolan, who's now our COO, and Barbara Gualco. And then there's a long list of folks, Jared Parker, who's now the wonderful property manager. Many of you know Jared. But I'm going to Julia, Daniel Wade, Jackie Hoffman, Therese Varney, Lauren Matta, Kareem Sultan, Nancy Conover is doing our fabulous commercial leasing. Wait until you see the wonderful local businesses that move into this. Well, you're going to be incredibly happy, Mr. Mayor and Supervisor. Shashi Jeevan and Emily Riccardi. But also, if you could just raise your hand, everyone else at Mercy, there's just too many people to list, but have done a fabulous job of making this happen. I always forget to thank Barbara Shore and her staff for putting these events together, so for once today, I'm going to get that right. All right, with that, I've made him wait long enough. As I said earlier when he wasn't here, we just have such an unbelievable champion in this mayor. I was in a meeting with 150 of your closest friends, discussing, what the mayor and the board of supervisors are potentially prepared to do to really deepen what is already an incredible investment of affordable housing. And it just goes to show you just how committed this mayor is to this vision. He's been committed to it for many, many years, and he's just deepened that effort as a mayor. So with that, I give you Mayor Ed Windley.
Well, Doug, I'll bring it down even lower. Right. First of all, everyone, I'm glad to be here yet again with Supervisor Kim. We've always cherished these opportunities when we're together to make sure we're opening up the housing opportunities for people, and we love giving out keys and opening up doors. I will have to admit that as we pulled up in front, that when I saw that fire truck, I went, uh-oh. Because we were there before, and that's my way of saying, well, okay, they're here to get their kudos for a job well done. And I want to personally thank you again for putting this fire out and not losing any units, and certainly not forestalling this day when we can cut the blue ribbon. Thank you, San Francisco Fire Department. World class. World class. Everybody knows all the details here, so I know we have a lot to celebrate with the families already moved in. The impression I got, and I'm glad that I came here to listen to some of the others speak, couple of impressions. One, that there is a history that we have to honor, and I know Eugene talked about that a lot, and we are doing so. There's a lot of people that are on this waiting list. In fact, some 20,000 people have been waiting many years to get on, and I think this particular waiting list, there were thousands to get in to these 149 units actually, to be exact, with the 50 units that are for homeless, and we have thousands of people that are still on our streets. We have to work hard. Now, one impression that I got in listening to all of the contributions, whether it was Bank of America and Merrill Lynch or Silicon Valley or our community reinvestment, or our agency that has owned this land and formerly redevelopment and now OCII, or all the myriad of other agencies that have come together with the designers and with Mercy Housing, the impression you get is these are incredibly complicated projects to build affordable housing and affordability for the incomes of people that are struggling in the city. Very complicated. And in fact, when Eugene quoted that this issue was passed by the voters in 2006, and this is 2015, why does it take us 9 years to build 150 units of affordable housing? It shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be confronted with challenges like a fire. It shouldn't have to suffer the slowness of bureaucracies. Not that everyone has got the things that they have to do, but as a city who invites everyone from the world to be here, we have to honor people with a much more robust, aggressive program. And this is why the Board of Supervisors and I are putting forth something that I'm going to ask all of you to help, because there's no way we can help the thousands of people on these waiting lists if we move in 9-year increments. In Chinatown, where we opened up another apartments for low-income folks, it took them 7 years to put together the financing. And Mercy knows this because you and Olson and the others that are in the center of trying to put together all these different packages suffer from all the bureaucracies that the federal and the state, and even sometimes our government contributes to the slowness of getting these units up. That is why we're putting forth a housing bond for $250 million. But I'm not satisfied with that. That is important to us. The Board of Supervisors and I, we will put a ballot measure for this November. We'll need your help to pass it. And of course, for those of you here, I think you're already part of the yes audience. What you don't know is what we're doing behind the scenes to also create something that I know Bank of America and Silicon and the Community Trust Fund, OCI in particular as well, we're putting together an accelerator fund so that when we identify these sites and we have them, just like we know we have another site that's about to break ground just north of us for another 588 units, of which 200 of them are going to be affordable, I want those projects accelerated. Because we have this very unique opportunity right now that, given the prosperity of our city, given the things that are moving along very well in the business world, we need to have that prosperity shared by everybody. We need to pull up the families in Sunnydale and in Alice Griffith and Hunters Point and in Potrero Hill, and the people who've been on these waiting lists waiting for old promises to be met with our leadership. And I've told you time and time again, I'm not going to make new promises. I'm going to fulfill old ones that have been made by mayors and supervisors in the past, that everybody who wants to be here should be able to find a place to live here, be able to have a very culturally diverse society of all economic incomes, be able to enjoy the parks, the bikeways, the small businesses that will be here with a stone's throw away from a brand new fire station, a brand new police headquarters, the Giants, and all the things, and of course, hopefully a very soon to be developed basketball arena and entertainment center. Everybody deserves that, and they deserve to have the good views and the good air. And so we're in a hurry. We're in a hurry to build 30,000 units of housing in the city with a guarantee of them, over half of them, to be affordable to all different families, working class families, and a guaranteed 33% of them to low income folks. We're in a hurry to do that. We're in a hurry to have those of you who are lucky enough to move in here, you can tell your friends, yeah, but the city's going to do more. That your friends who have been on the waiting list can look at each other and say, I want to be there, and I want to live a decent life with everybody in San Francisco as well. So when we're all celebrating here, we also have to make a double down commitment to everybody else who isn't here, because there should be 12, 13,000 more people that could be celebrating. I have to get folks off the street. I've got a navigation center now working with a CARES task force to get people the support they need in mental health and more housing for them. We've got an incredible discussion going on in the Mission. And I want people to know in the Mission, I'm going to be aggressive in building that affordable housing right there along South Van Ness. We walked down there the other day and we saw 10 sites that if we can get control on it right now, we can really have the banks with us accelerating that affordable housing. This is how strong our city is, but we got to be strong for people who are waiting, because that wait is disastrous for a lot of people holding on to their jobs. Hopefully we gave a little break because we got a new minimum wage for folks to have happen in the city. That's a way to help them. We got free transportation to low-income youth, seniors, and people with disabilities. That helps, but I got to get the housing up to match the jobs, to match the economy, to get this wealth poured back into the places where people can really feel a successful city is for them as well as for everyone else that we see being successful. Will you help me with that? Will you all help me here with that? I know Mercy's already there. They're part of my whole plan, along with so many incredible nonprofit housing development centers that are going to help me build all over the place. but I need this story accelerated with everybody's participation. And if we do so, then I can always talk about a city that's not only diverse and successful, it is also investor friendly. We need our banks to be able to tell the people that put their money in their banks, you got the city that is the strongest investment you can ever make. And that's going to speak to the pension funds that I want in here, our own pension fund, as well as laborers and crafts pension funds, teachers funds as well. We're going to work on teachers' housing. We're going to work on large sites that you'll see more announcements on. And we need that dialogue at City Hall that pushes us. Let's be less bureaucratic. Let's get out there and perform, and get that housing unit built up. It's an incredible day. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let's keep going to work and work for everybody else. Thank you very much. As mayors do, today is 1180 4th Street Day in San Francisco.
While we have a second, the mayor and others have already acknowledged it, but for those of you that don't know, this building came within a few feet of being burned down, and it would have been years before we've been able to build it back. We have some very special folks here from San Francisco Fire Department, from Engine Company Number 8, Daniel Janssen. I'm sorry I don't know the names of everybody else in the battalion. Battalion Chief Pete Fay, I've obviously butchered the name, so that's good. You can go back and tell him I did that, or whatever it was. But if you guys would mind coming up and just taking our thanks for the tremendous work. We're almost through their program. I want to thank those guys. We add a little drama to the story of the day. We could have had some live video feed, or not live video, recorded video feed. Hopefully no live feed of fires. A couple other folks to thank. We're very close to the headquarters of Dignity Health, which is an incredible partner of ours. We're not doing it today, but Dignity Health, Dignity Health and Wellness Courtyard is named after them in honor of the tremendous support that they provided to Mercy over the years. I don't see many folks here, but I just want to thank Lloyd Dean and Michael Blazik and Bernina McTiernan and Pablo Bravo and many of the other folks at Dignity for their longstanding support. And you know, today really is about the residents, and we want to. I guess I just want to say this is really why all of us do this work. We're really here because this is what keeps us going. The days when people move in and the stories that we get to hear, whatever brief moment of your life we get to share. Some of you that are in property management get to share longer of it, but for those of us that are working on the development side or in other places, it's these days that really keeps us going. We're really fortunate that Ms. Michael Williams was willing to come up and just tell us a little bit about her story. I don't know where she went. She's here. Okay. Do you mind coming up, Mike? And just to tell us a little bit about sort of her journey here. She was born and raised, or born at least, born in San Francisco, raised in and around the Bay Area, and now she's back with a permanent home here in Mission Bay.
Good afternoon, San Francisco. I really tried to keep this at 3 minutes, but it's about 6, so bear with me while I share a part of my life with you and how I've arrived here at 1184th Street. I would like to say thank you to San Francisco's HSA, Mercy Housing, Episcopal Community Services, and also welcome partners of the community, the investors, and 1180 residents and guests. I'm just going to go ahead and start. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous, y'all. It's been quite some time. I told Jared, I says, well, yeah, I can rally together some people who are going to protest, but this is a different arena, so if I'm a little shaky and nervous, excuse me. I'm trying to get past that. Okay, as a child, I aspired to be a veterinarian or a zoologist someday. I spent many long hours during sunny weekends exploring my neighborhood meadow, pretending to be a scientist. Later, as an adolescent, I developed a natural talent for writing short stories, singing, songwriting, and painting. I grew up on KQED. Although the desire to excel in these areas were innate, I lacked the support system that is essential to fully cultivate these skills. As a result, most of my childhood dreams waned. Many traumatic events would later occur in my life that would strip me of the innocence and drive found in those formative years. Trying to salvage some meaning in my life, I married and created a family of my own. I thought this idea would help me to make some sense of what had happened to me. The thought was to raise my children without the same negative influences that I had growing up as an attempt to heal my own past. Note to self, never try to relive one's own life through one's offspring. It's a bad idea. I was a broken woman, and I had to first heal on my own. Then I would have something to offer the world around me. Until then, I only created havoc as I plowed through a life unconscious that every decision I made was mirrored in everything around me. My life was not everyone else's fault. I eventually left my husband and went off into the great endeavor of self-sustainability, and I failed miserably. I had never had a clue to the full gravity of the responsibility of trying to raise 2 children solo after being a homemaker for so many years. Poor life planning and poor choices would eventually land me into my first shelter experience. I don't believe eagerly anticipating having nowhere to live is common childhood mindset, but I can now check to become a homeless drug addict off of my bucket list. I am not the scientist that I once wanted to be, and the Nobel Prize sure ain't on display in my apartment. However, I am currently making room for my greatest potential in my life right now. In 2012, while still not fully removed from the homeless lifestyle, I became pregnant with my son, Jodha. That transition threw me into a tailspin, and I began weighing the options of abortion or adoption. Happy to say that I now live with my 20-month-old son, Jodha Ren, and I'm so glad I brought that little heartthrob into the world. He has been the inspiration to master any challenges that I experience as a team and as a family. Where I would have once given up in the past, all I have to do now is look at my lovely little booger and remember that I am all he has to build a proper foundation for him to be the best in his own life. Now that our past is behind us, I am stronger, I am wiser, I'm more enlightened, and definitely more conscious of the decisions that I make. In this current chapter of my life story, I believe I am capable of producing a profoundly successful future for my family. Housing has made the difference in me, and I have a renewed sense of confidence that I can do this thing called life. The moment I got the approval to move into my apartment, I kickstarted all the plans that I had made over the years of the things I would do if I had my own space again. I activated my superhero powers, and I hit the ground running, but then I had to slow down and work out the mundane details of the dreams, and I had to do something I did not want to do. I had to get a job. So what I did was give back to my community by volunteering my time at organizations that had a focus on solving the problems surrounding homelessness and working to end homelessness itself. I volunteered at Episcopal Community Services and the Coalition on Homelessness. When I volunteered at these places, I offered the same energy that they offered into the many lives that they served. Presently, I am now an employee of Episcopal Community Services, doing something that I love, serving the homeless. In addition to gainful employment, I'm also on the Shelter Monitoring Committee at City Hall, and I am preparing for the startup phase of a nonprofit that is an organic food and household support system to help low-income families to cultivate eco-awareness. The City and County of San Francisco's HSA and Mercy Housing partner up with a myriad of teams in the nonprofit sector who support and advocate for San Francisco's homeless population. This dream team donned their capes and came to the rescue. Families who were awaiting permanent housing, sometimes for years, held house keys to beautiful apartments they could now call home. For some families, this may have been the first time they've had a second chance and literally a new lease on life, and that includes me. In the city of San Francisco, the homeless population are not an afterthought, but a priority. Mercy Housing Management and ECS Supportive Services here at 1180 work tirelessly to keep the grounds up to par and to ensure that our families' needs are being met. I give thanks to Mercy Housing, ECS, and the City of San Francisco for helping me to realize my dream that I could be the mother that I always wanted to be. Thank you for helping me to reform the broken pieces of my life into something more beautiful than I could have ever have done on my own. You did this by giving me a place called home. I can now wake up in my lovely apartment, walk into my bathroom, look into the mirror at the beauty that this life has created, and say, I love my city. Now, it might be a little bit on the crazy side, but it's mine. Special thanks to people who I have leaned on for support, who have always welcomed me with open arms when I would just not go away. Sally Ray of Episcopal Community Services, Brianna Moore, San Francisco HSA, Mallory Hassick at Episcopal Community Services, and the ECS Supportive Services team here at 1184th Street, Sean Pavandi, Anna Cooper, and Nelson Estrada. Thank you so much.
Everybody at Mercy's used to me getting weepy at this stage of the agenda, so I won't disappoint. There's really not much to add after that. That's why we're all here. Thank you so much for sharing that story. For the mayor, for the supervisor, for everybody else who's involved, we need to do more of this. And if you could share that story with anyone you talk to today, it will make a world of difference. So thank you. We're going to have a brief ribbon cutting ceremony, but please enjoy this day, and thank you for the support that you've given to everyone here. Thank you.
This is our water conservation. We can talk.
I'll go on the other side. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
All right.
So
Okay, everyone. Wait, before you cut it, give me a nice smile. All right, that's great. And then let me just one more just in case somebody please. Oh, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's cut it.
Oh, we got good
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I hope they're good.
Dance, Ariella, dance. Ariella, dance. Look, Brilli, come